Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Rebuilding in Recovery. My name is Tracy. I am a recovering heroin addict and a master's level therapist. And Rebuilding in Recovery is where I share my recovery story in the hopes that I can help you build a successful, happy life after addiction. You guys can connect with me on other social media platforms. I have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Patreon, and also a recovery support group called the Rebuilder Society. I've linked that down below. You can also learn a little bit more about who I am and my story down below. This video, you guys, is a really important one because this is something that hits everybody in recovery. It is something that hits you whether you are 2 days clean or a year clean. Title that you learn to address it or you will never make it. I know that sounds a little bit dramatic, but it's for real. And what we are talking about is cravings. We are not only talking about cravings, what cravings are, but we are also talking about what causes cravings on a deeper level. Not just my body wants drugs, but what deep within you is making you want drugs. Because I believe that if you can address the root cause behind your cravings, then you can essentially get rid of cravings. I am 8, almost 9 years clean from heroin addiction. I can honestly say that I very rarely have cravings at this point. And that is because I have eliminated the root causes behind my cravings. So that is what we're going to talk about today. So what a craving is, what the root causes of cravings are, and how to eliminate those root causes of cravings. You guys, cravings impact everybody in recovery. Whether you are 10 years clean or a couple days clean, you're going to get cravings occasionally. Cravings are typically a lot worse in early recovery and they get better over time. As I said, I'm 8, 9 years clean now and I rarely experience them. But if you really want to get rid of cravings, it's all about eliminating the root cause of them. And that is what we're going to take a look at right now. There are essentially 3 main root causes of cravings. And those causes can include, number 1, chemical causes, low dopamine. Number 2, exposure to triggers. And number 3, boredom or lack of life satisfaction in some way. So the number 1 possible root cause of cravings is low dopamine. If you have watched my other videos, and I will link this video down below where I explain how dopamine works, it is a feel-good hormone that is directly impacted by drug addiction. And in early recovery, our dopamine struggles to regulate itself and it struggles to get back up to a normal level that we had prior to addiction. And when we have low dopamine, it can cause a lot of symptoms for us, depression-like symptoms, fatigue, lack of motivation, and cravings. This one is especially relevant to those in early recovery who are still trying to learn to regulate their dopamine. That could very possibly be a major cause of your cravings. However, even deep into recovery, you could still be experiencing low dopamine. There are tons and tons of ways to raise your dopamine. I'm going to list a few of them right now. If you do these things that I'm about to list, you will notice a difference immediately. You will notice those cravings and those depression-like symptoms start to eliminate immediately, but you will also notice a big difference over time, long-term, because not only are you pumping up your dopamine right now, you're eliminating cravings right now, but you're also helping it to regulate itself and helping it to be at a normal, healthy level from here on out as well. And that's another reason why cravings are so strong in early recovery and then they start to taper off the further into recovery you get, because your dopamine has learned to regulate itself and it is functioning semi-normally at this point. Okay, so some things that you can do to raise your dopamine are, first of all, taking care of yourself, eating a good diet, eating healthy fats, a high protein diet, regular exercise. Those are all things that help support dopamine functioning. There are lots of supplements that you can take that support dopamine functioning. That includes ginkgo biloba, turmeric, L-theanine, probiotics, fish oil, and more. Fun activities that you enjoy will also bump up your dopamine. Trying new activities for the first time, adrenaline-inducing activities, all of those, riding roller coasters, eating a food that you like, socializing and laughing with a friend, all of those will help support regular dopamine functioning. And all of those will help you not only lessen your cravings right now, but help you eliminate them long term as well. Now, I have also included below this video a link to a PDF that I have made that has every single way that you can bump up your dopamine on it. It's very handy. It lists all of the supplements, foods, activities, everything that you can do to bump up your dopamine right there in one place. You can get that below the video here. Okay, another major root cause of cravings is triggers. Triggers can look very different for everybody, but they are a major cause of cravings, and you may not even realize that you're being faced with them. So in another video, I explained how euphoric recall works. And euphoric recall is when your mind looks back on your time in addiction with a positive light instead of a negative one. It fails to remember all of the negative parts of addiction. And the reason that it does that is because when we use drugs, we are flooded with dopamine. We are flooded with feel-good hormones. And so our body then begins to associate everything around us while we're using, the places, the smells, the people, with that high dopamine, with those feelings of feeling good. So now those places and those smells and those people make us feel good. At least we think that they make us feel good. So those places and people and things can now be triggers for us. So if you are consistently around someone that you used to use with, that might be triggering you and you might not even realize it, because every time you see that person, your body is letting off dopamine and your body is saying, oh, this person means I'm about to feel good. And you might not even realize that that's happening. So whether you can identify triggers around you or not, think about the things that are around you that were also around you during your using days. You know, maybe there's a song that you used to listen to on your way to get dope every time. Maybe there's a smell that reminds you of where you used to get high. All of those things can make you feel triggered. Obviously, being around people who are using also is going to be a trigger. There are also emotional triggers. If you are feeling extremely stressed in your life or extremely overwhelmed, or you are just not having a good time, that can also trigger you to want to use. So that's why it is so important, especially in early recovery, but really all throughout your recovery, to distance yourself from people that you used to use with, and distance yourself from people who are still in the game if you are serious about not being in the game. Also, like I said, take a look at those things around you, see if there's any songs, sounds, smells, sights that were around when you were using dope that could be triggering you, and get rid of them. Attending meetings and utilizing your supports can help you through this time as well. And then, of course, learning to regulate your emotions, journaling, meditating, exercising, all of those things will help you feel stronger and more regulated in the moment. But also, I think it's so important to take a look at your life and figure out what is stressing you and what is overwhelming you, and see how you can fix that on a deeper level. If you are a single parent, and your parenting is just stressing you out and you don't ever get a break, I totally understand that. Try and figure out a way to get yourself a break. Try and figure out a way to work in some self-care. Save up for a babysitter. Ask family for help. Tell them, I am desperate. I need some help with these kids right now, It is okay to ask for help, because you have to do what you need to do to stay sober. Okay, and number 3, the last root trigger, this very broad trigger, is boredom or life dissatisfaction. If you are in early recovery and you just don't know what to do with your life and you're just kind of wandering around, that can be a trigger. If you're in early recovery and you have not set any goals for yourself and you're just kind of going through the motions of life, that could be a trigger. If there is an aspect of your life that you just cannot stand right now, maybe you are in a really unhealthy, unhappy relationship, that can be a trigger. So this is where we have to do some work on a deeper level. There's a few ways you can do this. I have another video where I talk about finding your life purpose in early recovery. I have what's called my 3-directional quiz, where I ask you 3 different questions to help you find your purpose and direction in early recovery. I will link that video below so you can take that quiz if you want, if you are feeling this way in early recovery. But it is so important to set goals for yourself in early recovery and to always be working toward those goals. I spent every minute of my free time working toward my goals. I didn't want to be bored. I wanted to be busy, and I wanted to be working toward the future that I wanted at all times. And let me tell you, it paid off big time. Also, remember that you are coming from a very fast paced, high adrenaline lifestyle of addiction. You cannot just come out of that lifestyle and go into work in a 9 to 5 job and expect to feel satisfied. We need excitement in our lives as humans. That is human nature, to want to feel a rush of something every now and then. In my early recovery, I made it a priority to travel, to try new things, to go rock climbing at climbing gyms, to go on hikes, to go camping. That's what I like to do. But figure out what you like to do and spend time doing what you like to do. Don't let yourself get bored in early recovery. Find those things that Find those things that are a thrill for you. Find those things that bring you happiness and do them as often as you can right now. And lastly, take inventory of yourself. Take a minute and journal a couple pages about whether or not you are satisfied with your life right now. Think about the things in your life that you're happy with. Think about the things in your life that you're not happy with. Journal out a few pages, just vomit on the paper, and then see what comes up. See if you can identify anything in your life that you feel like you need to change. Then figure out a step-by-step plan to get that thing out of your life or to get what you need in your life. Because that's one of the biggest things. That's why so many people relapse, is because there is something about their lives that they don't like. And so they're looking for that escape from their lives. If you can build a life that you genuinely love, you're not going to relapse. You're not going to want to. You are going to run from relapse. I've been clean from heroin addiction for 8 or 9 years, and I can honestly tell you that that is why. It's because early on, I worked my ass off and I created a life for myself that I wake up every day grateful AF for. I'm serious. I wake up every day and I am just amazed by my life. I love it. Now, it's not perfect. Nothing is ever perfect, but I love where I'm at right now, and I don't want to do anything to risk messing that up. So I don't mess around with relapse. I don't mess around with people who are using. I don't want those people around me because I don't want to endanger what I have going here, because what I have going here is good. So I'm telling you, if you are able to build a life that you love, that you wake up grateful for every day, then you will be able to find that long-term recovery and cravings will not touch you. So do some of that word vomit, do some of that journaling, figure out what you need to make your life one that you genuinely love. If you are struggling with creating the life you love, or you are struggling hardcore with cravings, we do have a recovery support group. It's called the Rebuilder Society. I will link that information down below. You can check it out. Now, this is kind of a two-part video. So this one I'm talking about cravings. The next video that's coming out is going to be about temptation and how to manage that temptation in the moment. So keep an eye out for that one. New videos every Saturday, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do all of the things. Subscribe, hit the bell so you know when my videos come out. Share this with somebody else in early recovery who it may benefit. Comment, all that. It really helps keep things going for the channel, and we really appreciate your support. And I will see you again next Saturday.